Hey everyone, Justin at Lynch Northwest. Just want to do a quick kind of how-to video on how to install our Spyderco Shaman scales on your Shaman, and including our new titanium backspacer. So I've already got the knife disassembled, but to do that you're going to need a T10, T8, and a T6 for that pocket clip. But let's jump into it and get this thing put together. So one scale here, it's going to require a liner, the other will not, so we're only going to retain the lock side liner. On the non-lock side, you'll notice that there's kind of a D-shaped here. That's what's going to hold that pivot, of course, besides the screw. So what we're going to do is we're going to set our washer in there. We're going to make sure that on our pivot here, we locate that flat spot or the kind of D part of it. And we're just going to drop that in and make sure that that orients itself correctly. So you'll know because it'll sit in there nice and flush like that. And just keep your finger on it, flip it over. We're going to grab one of those pivot screws, and then with our T10 we're just going to go ahead and tighten that up. No need to go crazy here on torque, guys, just snug it up, fingertips. It's plenty good right there. Okay, next we'll take our backspacer here, and I just kind of line it up over the holes, kind of like we did that pivot. And we're actually gonna do it from the top side here. So I'm gonna drop in one of those first screws. It'll take you just a sec usually to get that screw kind of lined up, but there we go. I've got it threaded. So we're gonna go tight and then just back it off a little bit. We want a little wiggle. We want to be able to rotate this. Next screw, same thing, just tighten it down and then back it off a little bit. We still want that backspacer to kind of wiggle or float around. That will help with getting those other screws on this side lined up when we do our final steps. Okay, now we'll take that floating stop pin, go ahead and drop that in. Next we'll grab our blade and then open that all the way up, set in that last washer, and then we'll take our lock side liner here. And really what we're trying to do is we're going to get that stop pin seated in this little groove here and get the pivot in here. And then the lock bar, we're going to want to lock the blade open. So best way for that I like to do this is we're just going to get it generally lined up and then pull up on the lock bar and push down. That will allow that to fit in there, and then you can just assure that that lock bar, everything's seated right. Take our scale, lay it right over the top, and then we'll run in our pivot screw here. And don't worry about tightening everything up quite yet. We just want to get everything kind of aligned, and then we'll start snugging screws down and getting it all tuned up right. So we'll take these guys here, and this is again why I mentioned we want to leave those other two screws on that backspacer loose. Sometimes, see, that one went right in. But we're just going to back that off. Again, we want to leave it a little wiggly. Take this one here, same thing. Okay, everything lined up good, had lots of wiggle room. So now we're just going to torque these down. Don't forget that other side. All right, so typically on these, the non-locking side, we'll just kind of leave that how we had it, leave it nice and snug. What I like to do now, just to make sure that everything gets compressed and seated together, we're going to take our T10, we're just going to tighten that down real nice and tight. Of course, that's going to make our action. This thing's almost locked up, but that's just to seat it, so we're just going to back that out now. And I'm super, with right amount of Loctite, that'll hold that. But we're going to check that action. See, that's a little tight, doesn't quite want to drop, so we'll just back that off just a little bit here. Just a little bit more. And of course, a little lubricant goes a long ways. There we go. And then last thing we'll do here is just throw on our pocket clip. I already put the screws in there just to save you guys the time of watching me struggle to get those screws in. Just get one threaded, get it number 2, and then we'll get that third one started here. Okay, and we'll just run these in. And here's our third and final clip screw. Now that guy's on there nice and snug. Got that Lynch Northwest titanium backspacer. These here are the metallic sky blue samurai pattern on that Spyderco Shaman. Please let me know if you guys have any questions, maybe anything I forgot to address. Be sure to check these things out. Thanks so much for all your support.